Hey guys, how we doing? Welcome back to another video. This one is, well, it's attached to the Fuji X-T1. It is the Fujinon 16 to 50 millimeter 3.5 to 5.6 lens. It's a very inexpensive lens. I use it a lot. And again, you've got 16 millimeters at one end, 50 millimeters at the other. When you are at 16, you've got your wide open aperture at 3.5. When you crank it all the way to 50, you've got your aperture at 5.6. None of that is a problem for me because I typically don't shoot indoors with this camera or any camera technically. Again, it's not an expensive lens, but it does have OIS, and that's important if you're using it on an X-T1, an X-T2. So it's good to have a lens with OIS built in, and this does have that. What does that do? You're able to shoot at lower shutter speeds at dusk, maybe. Dusk or dawn, I guess, if you're up that early. It does add a little bit of stability, and just enough that it can make a difference. I can't scientifically tell you what that difference is, but it's in the lens. I like the fact that it's in there, and it certainly is not going to hurt you. Now this 16 to 50 is equivalent to a 24 to 76 on a full frame camera. That makes a little bit of a difference because most APS-C sensor cameras and their lenses start at 18, like most Canons. Now you can get, of course, smaller lenses or wider lenses, but in general, the kit lenses typically start at 18, which would be a 28 millimeter equivalent on an APS-C to full frame camera. With an 18 millimeter or 28 millimeter equivalent lens, it's just a little tight. This 16, which makes it a 24, does expand enough that it makes a big difference. So being 2 millimeters or 4 millimeters for the full frame, it can make a big difference in the way you shoot. So that's one of the things I like about having this 16 millimeter versus my Canon that would have an 18 millimeter or Pentax that would have an 18 millimeter as well. Now, when you're talking about this 16 to 50 lens for the Fujinon, it does have, like I said, OIS, optical image stabilization, which is awesome, but it does not have the aperture ring on the lens. Doesn't bother me. It does seem to bother some video folks or people who buy these cameras for video, but with the Fuji, it's a great combo and it works fantastic. Now, what about autofocus speeds, things like that? I've not noticed any major hunting or problems with the autofocus. If you're strictly doing photography, as again, that's all I would do with this camera and this lens anyway, you know, if it takes it an extra second, well, it doesn't even take a second, a half a second to focus on something, or if I've got to move it or adjust the focus settings to make it work for me, well, that's just part of the photography fun. I mean, you find what works and you go with it. You're going to have some vignetting when you're wide open at 16. Maybe noticeable, maybe not, depending on what kind of light you're shooting in and all that. But I use Lightroom and I only shoot in RAW, so it's very easy for me to get rid of that vignetting without any problem. If you're only shooting JPEG, straight to JPEG, that could be an issue, but that's what you're going to get in this price range of camera anyway, so honestly, I don't see it being a problem. Okay, so again, I wanted to make this short, sweet, like the lens itself, short, sweet, you know, it'll get out there for you. Ergonomically, I really like the way that this holds up. I normally have a JJC thumb grip here that I hold on to, and you could walk around for a long period of time holding this camera and not hurting your wrist. It's very lightweight, you know, compared to say a Pentax or a Canon, something like that. So I really enjoy it. I like it. That's why I do keep this X-T1. I use it along with some other cameras, and every now and then when I want to feel nostalgic with these buttons on the top or the dials on the top and all that good stuff, I'll whip it out and go out and take some photos. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of psyched up about it now, so I'll probably go make another video out in the street. All right, guys, hopefully that was helpful. Please like, please subscribe, leave your questions, comments in the comment section below, and we'll see you on the next one.